All right, good morning. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. It is Wednesday. For some reason, I thought it was Thursday today already. I was like, oh, it's almost Friday. And then I looked at my calendar and it's like, no, it's only Wednesday. It's the time of year. It kind of throws you, it kind of really throws, I don't know, throws me off. Getting through the last week of work, everything else before Christmas. I can't believe it's almost Christmas. Before we see who's here, don't forget, say hi. It's always nice to have everybody join on a morning to talk about the market, talk about our investments, all that kind of good stuff. But if anybody's watching on the replay, we go live 8 a.m. Pacific time to about 8:45. So it'll be great to have you join along. Make sure you're subscribed, turn on notifications. You'll get notified when we do go live. And we'd be great to have you along. It's a good group of people that join up, talk about investing, answer some questions, and all that good stuff. So as people roll in, we'll don't forget to say hi as you come in, hit the like button. We always like to say that once, really helps out the channel. And let's get rolling with some fairly big news today, which I completely forgot about. It's all focused on what was happening in the States with their CPI. Forgot about ours. So I have that to bring up in an article, and then we'll answer any questions you have and go forward. But first things first, coffee, and we'll let people roll in from. I think if you're on the West Coast here, we're buried in snow, so you're digging yourself out and getting up and digging ourselves out of snow. So welcome everybody. Let's get started. Don't forget to say hi as you come in. And I saw actually there is a comment on the thing. This came through yesterday from Vic. And Vic usually Vic. I don't know if you're here. This is because this was commented yesterday. Cover yield shares by purpose invest. So Vic, if you're watching this, or if you're catching now on the replay, we did talk about that a little bit on the live stream yesterday, kind of at the beginning. And for anybody that is joining, I guess we can kind of go and do a quick run over on this, because it has been launched now for just over a day, to kind of see how things are doing. But basically what those are, I pulled up the tab again to be able to kind of share purpose invest for people to look at. It's worth talking about. I haven't bought any of these. I don't know if anybody, they just started trading yesterday, Vic. They're yield share. So what they're offering is an ETF, single stock ETF of, I think there's 5. Let's scroll down here. These websites, there's 5 right now. So as of right now, five stocks: Apple, Amazon, Alphabet, Google, Berkshire Hathaway, and Tesla. Now they're all Canadian hedged, but what they will do is they will use covered calls, but also leverage to basically try and obtain a monthly yield paid as a dividend every month from these shares. Now, they opened yesterday. I believe they all opened at $20. I haven't really looked to see what they were doing. Obviously, the share cost will be impacted by the individual stock's share price. But as you can see, their kind of estimated yield on certain products are put there. Basically 10% for Apple, 12% for Amazon, 11% for Google, Alphabet, and 6% Berkshire Hathaway, 18.4% for Tesla. So we'll see how these turn out. I don't know. I'm not necessarily planning on investing in any of them. So Vic, that's a quick run over. There's a lot of information on the purpose investment website that you can check out, read more into these. You can break it down and read into each of the individual ETFs, if that's something you're interested in. But great question, Vic. Thanks for bringing that up. And it'll be interesting to see. I can actually kind of maybe look and see what one of the stocks are actually if what they're doing. I looked briefly yesterday. There wasn't a lot of, because it was brand new. There wasn't a lot of action. Let me see if I can find it. Purpose. No, I can't even find them. Let me find the share. APLY. Yeah, so they're moving around. They're trading now. They do have yeah. It looks like yesterday wasn't a ton of volume on them, but Apple yields up today. But again, we'll have to see. I'll maybe keep an eye on those. Put some of those on my watch list. But obviously, like I said, Vic, no plans to invest that. But if anybody's looking for some dividends, maybe that would be an option. But that's a good find. I think those are always kind of interesting to find. On the note with options in that, I know Wealthsimple is rolling that out to certain users so far, so you might be able to. That's something maybe people can get into on their own as well. But Brian, good morning. It's always good to have you here. Thanks for joining in. A couple of the regulars are here today, which is nice. I know coming into Christmas, everybody's busy. It's a busy time of year, so I do appreciate you taking your morning and coming in, saying hi, at least having a coffee, at least saying hi. So that's great. Thanks, everybody. So that's Purpose Invest there for Vic. If you want more of it, I mean, maybe a deep dive on that, Vic, is check out, maybe leave a message for Candace. She's the one to do deep dives on individual stocks and ETFs. She would get into the nitty gritty of that. So it might be worthwhile to mention to Candace, or if Candace is watching that, there's an idea for you. Maybe jump into those. I don't know how much interest there are in those, but I guess someone is. And let's pull up. You know what, we started off with the weather. Let's start. We might as well start a little bit with the weather, because I think this is impacting a lot of people, especially this time of year. It doesn't always have to be about. The news doesn't have to always have to be about investing. But again, it's always worthwhile to bring these things up, because this is where, if you're in the West Coast, there is a ton of snow here for us. I'm on the island. We had about 15 centimeters, which is quite a bit for us. So everybody kind of digging out. The road's not too bad here, which is nice. I was out a little bit yesterday morning. Haven't been out today, but we're kind of, there's more in the forecast. So it's kind of ugly out there. And if anybody from the West Coast knows, as soon as there's a little bit of snow on the ground, even a centimeter, you'll probably, if you're watching some of the news, you see the fancy cars spinning because no one has proper winter tires to drive around. They shouldn't be driving around. But certain areas of the Lower Mainland had a lot of snow yesterday. One of my coworkers, he sent me a picture from outside his house, and there must have been a good foot and a bit, a lot. I can't even see it in the camera. It's a good like 12, 15 inches of snow in his area. So not a lot of fun happening now. So there's chaos at the airport. Obviously, it always kind of does happen. And of course, it's the time of year where everybody's trying to go places and trying to get towards family, trying to either go see family or fly to somewhere warmer. And of course, it's always a chaos situation. Regardless, this time of year, I think it's always busy at airports, but everybody's trying to get away, going to Hawaii, going to Mexico, going to somewhere warm. But the airport was a bit of a disaster yesterday. So lots of delayed flights. You can see here's pictures of people sleeping at the airport, and that's just it. Overwhelmed. So people trying to get home and places for the holiday. It'll be interesting. Hopefully that people can get sorted out. The problem is that all the stuff gets backlogged, and it's back. Each flight delayed puts everybody back. So hopefully everything gets cleared out. Everybody can hopefully get home wherever they're going for the holidays. I don't know if anybody's planning on traveling or doing anything for the holidays. Let me know. I always kind of stick at home for the holidays for the most part. I will be going in the new year. I see I avoid all that, the mad rush, but in the new year I'll be going to visit my mom and spending a couple days with her. So no plans like Christmas to get everywhere, because it's always so busy. So I like to relax. That's my thing. But hopefully if those people that are flying can get out and get somewhere warm. I say every year it'd be nice to go away somewhere warm for Christmas, but I never have. I've been on holidays in the winter, but not over Christmas. I think it'd be a nice thing to do is like, just don't tell anybody almost, and go, oh yeah, by the way, I'm leaving for Christmas. Sorry. No more. Don't have to worry about all the events and parties and stuff to go to be stressed about. But onto the big news, I guess, today, and I can't believe I completely forgot about this. And actually, to my defense, no one actually mentioned it in the live yesterday about this coming up, because it completely slipped everybody's mind. So let's pull this up. There we go. And the numbers came out this morning for CPI for inflation, and it is down a little bit, but maybe not as much as they were wanting it to be. The CPI, this is for November, came in at so it came in 6.8% in November, but down just a little bit from it was 6.9 in October, so coming down a little bit, um, but it doesn't look like it's coming down as quickly as people are wanting it to. Central banks and Bank of Canada wanting it to come down. So we'll see how this continues. It's kind of like now this kind of solidifies, I think, from going through obviously the Bank of Canada kind of pointing now towards higher interest rates come January. So there's the next Bank of Canada meeting January. I think it's 23rd. I think I could be wrong. Correct me in the chat. It is towards the end of January. So we will have another month of numbers to come out to see what happens. But it's kind of pointing in the direction of another rate increase come the new year. That is not good news for people that are obviously borrowers. Because we can look at here, we've talked about it before on the channel, mortgage costs for people, borrowers, mortgage, lines of credit. If you break it down, actually mortgage interest costs, and this is like a floating mortgage. If you're on a variable rate mortgage, interest costs were up 14.5% annually. Like that's substantial. It's the largest, basically, what are they saying here? The largest annual price jump since February of 1983. So a lot of people that are borrowing things are feeling that pinch. So I think hopefully we start to see when inflation is slowly coming down, but not as quickly as it seems very stubborn as they're putting it here. So if you actually break it down, they've actually raised interest rates 400 basis points since March, which is like, it's crazy to think of. This is really, we're at the highest interest rates since 2008. But we haven't seen an increase like that since the 70s. So really interesting. But basically, all economists are kind of pointing now to an increase of interest rates come January, which isn't good news, I guess, is or isn't, depending how you look at it. Hopefully, we still have another CPI print before that, so maybe that will kind of change things. But again, it could even make it worse. But I think we're kind of guaranteed. We were actually having a conversation at I had my Zoom work meeting yesterday, and we got on the conversation of what do we think rates going, and the consensus as well was probably another increase come January. The Bank of Canada and TIF has been quite clear that they want the inflation target down to 2%. I think it's just being stubborn. So we'll have to see what happens going forward. So not good news if we're borrowing. So I think as we've talked before, it's a good time to try and pay down any debt. Obviously, if your rates are higher, pay down as much debt as you can. But it's tough, right? It's tough with groceries. Let me see if this article mentioned grocery costs, because that's a big cost. It did mention rent. Yeah, it does mention groceries. So food purchase at stores increased 11.4% annually in November. Coffee price, it kind of breaks it down a little bit. Coffee and tea up 16.8%, eggs up 16.8%, and bakery stuff rates 15.5%. So bread products and stuff like that. So stuff is getting more expensive. It's definitely stubborn out there. So we will have to see how that pans out for the new year. But at least we get a bit of a break, and for the next little bit, we won't. There's not a meeting till towards the end of January, so we can digest what we have, and hopefully stuff will kind of change as it goes. But it does suggest. But then I did pull up another article and kind of read about it. It was it's saying that it's starting to the higher rates are starting to kind of take a bite on things. So I think it's just not hitting it as fast as bringing it down as fast as possible. But I don't think that's going to be possible in the it's going to be slow to get us back to 2%, if that's even possible. I don't know if is that even possible. I'm not sure about that. That's going to be, I think, with the way that rates go, it's going to be a lot of pain to get it there. But we'll see how that does pan out. Now on to, we can kind of talk about markets, because we are seeing a little bit of a rally today. Is this the start, hopefully, of this? We always like to have the little Santa rally. We've been talking about it for a few weeks now. We've have a few videos on the channel about the Santa rally, so it is nice. Not that it necessarily, I mean, there was a great comment from someone I was listening to on Candace's channel. It's like, well, why do we care about the Santa rally? And it's like, because we're, if our portfolio, like mine especially, is buying, it's being held for a long time. So the shorter term little rallies like this don't really have any impact. But it's mostly, I think, it gives you a nice, a boost of morale when you see things in the green, as opposed to your purchases in your stocks, ETFs, in red every day. So it's just like it's like a morale boost of more than anything. So we seem to be kind of, up. Everything kind of seems to be up a little bit today, which is nice. So they're kind of jumping back, because we had this kind of nasty, ugly week last week with everything selling off. So that's kind of nice. So if you are checking your portfolio today, if you're using Wealthsimple, you'll log into Wealthsimple, and you might see a little bit of green in your TFSA, or wherever you have that investment. So that's a good thing. On the note of investing, I'm going to be starting. So I did talk about the investments that I want to start doing next year on the automatic payment. So I'm actually going to start that. I think I'm going to start it on. Well, I think I'm going to do it weekly. So probably start actually next week. We're almost at the end of the year, so I do get a payday for me this Friday. So I figure I might as well start when I can, anyways. So I don't know if the TSX, I'm not sure if it's closed I think it probably is for the Monday, because of the holidays. Let me just pull this up. I believe we're closed. Christmas, so Monday the 26th and Tuesday the 27th is closed. So there goes that idea. But I'll basically be back for Wednesday and have that deposit put in for the TSX on Wednesday. So for those that are watching that, I'm not really sure where I'm going forward with my portfolio for the new year. And I'd love, if anybody has any comments, leave the comments, because I would love to hear what your kind of plans are for the new year and everything else going forward. But I'm going to do not a monthly. I'm going to be doing a weekly. I shared this in one of my past videos. I'm going to be doing a weekly deposit automatically into my self-directed TFSA in Wealthsimple. I'm going to start off with $100 a week. I think that's attainable and not too much. Partly because I have my car payment stopping in February, so there's funds to be able to do that without breaking the bank and worrying about investing for the long term with the funds. But on that note, what I'm going to be doing is, so I'll do $100. I'll do it every Monday, just to kind of keep things simple, so I remember. But obviously, starting next week, I won't be able to do on Monday. But $100, I'm going to from the $100, I'll buy one share of VDY. So that's the Vanguard Canadian High Dividend Yield ETF. So one share of that, and that's trading right now at it's about $40, 40 something. So that will take a bit of it. So 41.50. So it's always kind of been roughly within the 1 year. It's been up to $47 back last year, but so it's always typically under, for the time being, under $50. So that will let me buy one share of that. With that left over from the 50, I'm going to be, basically what I'm doing is splitting the $100 in half, so 50-50. So I'll buy one share of BTC.Y. Whatever I have left from that, up to $50, I will put into a fractional share of the BFE, which is the S&P 500 Index ETF. So a small amount in that one left over. So that'll probably be about $8 a week. And then the $50, what I want to do for the year, for the entire year, is every week put in that $50 into the Purpose, and we're back to Purpose investments back from the beginning here. I do want to put that into the Purpose High Interest Savings ETF. Now, for people that don't know, we actually never have. I don't think I've actually pulled that one up. They have a decent. We've talked about it a little bit, and I can pull this up. And let's just find it here. Purpose. Let's pull that up. So it's basically just essentially a cash savings ETF. And I want to kind of try and bump up my emergency savings a little bit. That's kind of the goal of it, to use that. So it's this one here. It trades around. It does adjust because it pays a dividend monthly. So if you actually look at it, the price goes up closer to the ex-dividend date, and then it comes down a little bit. But it's very, very. I mean, if you're trading a lot, it would make that's what people. It seems like that's what people are doing is they're putting money in, but and then taking it out right after the dividend. But anyway, so it pays right now. The net yield on it is 4.59%. So pretty good for a savings type account. Basically, they do is the deposits are invested in high interest savings accounts with Schedule 1 Canadian banks. So they kind of do that. I know a lot of people will put their savings in move it around to different banks to take advantage of different promos and stuff like and interest rate promos and everything else. This kind of does that for you, but leaves it in one place. And the only thing is you obviously have to have it in as it has an ex-dividend date. So you have to keep it deposited. If you do take it out, it's obviously not the same as a daily interest savings account. So that's something to keep in mind of. So it's not quite as, it's liquid, but it's not quite as liquid as say a savings account. But again, if you look at the yield, currently paying 4.59%, which is decent for a Canadian cash account. The only other thing to be aware of if you are investing in this one, like anything, research it, but it is not CDIC insured. So just something to be aware of if you're any type of investment like that. You want to make sure you kind of research it just so you know what you're actually kind of getting yourself into. And again, not being as liquid. So it's something to maybe be aware of if you are using this for, like I'm using this to start to bump up my emergency fund. It won't be my only savings. I still have some savings like in my savings account, because something to be aware of this obviously is if you're using it for a savings or emergency fund, don't forget you can only trade it when the market is open. So if for some reason you have an actual, full-on emergency and you need to access these funds and it's after hours or the weekend, there's obviously going to be that delay in terms of liquidating your withdrawal. And don't forget, if you are taking out from a trade, if you do sell them, it takes 2 or 3 days for the trades to actually settle and be able to withdraw that money out of Wealthsimple. So just to be kind of be aware of that if it's not a savings account in the same regards. So don't put all of your emergency savings in that place, I think, because it can obviously take a few days, week to probably partly get it out of your account. So just something to be aware of on that one. But that's how I want to try and build it up, and that will, I think, work for me. So a few more people join in. There we go. Abigail Bailey, nice to have you. Ho, ho, ho. Hello. Nice to have you join. Thanks for watching, Abigail. Haven't seen you in a while, so it's great to have you back. And Justin, yeah, we were just, it's funny, you came in, you're checking in, and you'll have to go back. We can talk about it a little bit. We literally just talked about it, and Vic, you're back. So check out, you have to go back after the stream and hit the rewind, because we talked about it a little bit, shared a little bit. It is on there. So Justin and Vic, yeah, we talked about it. They're kind of interesting. So there we go. So Vic did buy some. So Vic bought some yield Tesla. I have no plans to buy it. My kind of plan, I was just talking about, that's kind of my plan for the next little bit. It might be something to maybe look at. It would be interesting if they had, they're all individual shares, so it'd be interesting if they might, maybe if there's some popularity with it, maybe they'll combine them, right? Obviously you could do individual investments for your own, but maybe they have one coming out where they're going to combine a whole bunch of them for yield. But there must be some ETF like that somewhere. They probably have a yield one for something like that. But interesting how they're doing those individual ETFs. Tesla might be a good one because there's lots of movement in that one always. So we'll see how that. I have to see how that pans out for the dividends, and they're definitely kind of a good thing. If you think about it, possibly I should have, instead of buying the CDR for Tesla, I could have maybe looked at buying. That wasn't available, but it might kind of pay off to more to have it might actually be a bit better to have that one for the yield in the meantime, because obviously dividends in your TFSA are tax free, right? And you would still take advantage of the of any appreciation in prices, but good call there. So dividend is December 28th for all yield shares, so you can get people getting in there to catch that first dividend maybe on it, which might not be a bad thing. Are you just buying Vic? Are you just buying the Tesla? Or are you thinking about buying any of the other ones? Same question for Justin. Actually, Justin, if you're watching, are those on your watch list? Yeah, interesting. I mean, if the yield continues like that, that's kind of decent. Obviously, there'll be some probably more volatile swings in the price, but hard to say. So yeah, the dividend is currently 30 cents. Yeah, 18 point something %. So might be a decent one to check out. I don't know. I get paid on Friday. I was mentioning Vic, so maybe I'll buy a couple or just to see. You're hoping for below 20. Yeah, yesterday they opened yesterday right at $20. So I think yesterday they might have been trading a bit under $20. It's hard to say. Tesla is up a little bit today though, so that would obviously impact the price. What is it? Like Tesla's up just a touch today. So what's the Tesla ticker? Sorry, I'm just gonna pull that up again. YTSL. So yield makes sense. I think it was under 20. It was under 20. Oh, it's under 20. It's under $20 now. It's 18.50. Oh, so there you go. That's your plan. So $1,000 spread over 10 of each. Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah. And you dug under your couch. Oh, okay, so you found some cash. Under your couch. There you go. Well, you'll have to let us know how that goes, Vic. It's always nice if you have some input after a few months to see how it does. Like I said, no plans for me to add anything into it, but again, I never say never, but no plans at this time for me to make any kind of changes like that. But interesting nonetheless. Yeah. And good way to kind of split it up, see how it goes. All those new. I always find it interesting with all those ETFs. There's like literally an ETF for everything, so that's good. But the purpose ones seem to be pretty popular, so hopefully they do well for people. Yeah, you get your change. You get your change from the car. I always drop my cell phone between down the seat, and it drives me crazy because it's impossible to reach. You have to go in the back in the back seat to get underneath it. It's such a pain. And then you usually find a toonie or a loonie, although not so much anymore because I don't really use much cash. It's mostly tap, so I don't really have any change anymore underneath the change. Although if you ever go and get your car, Vic, if you ever go get your car professionally clean, like by a detailer to actually really do the whole car, they'll give you usually last time I did it, they found a whole bag of stuff, change and pens and all sorts of stuff that you know, headphones and all these things that drop down that you lose in your car. But they do a good job. It's like getting into a brand new car. That's what everybody should do. And so instead of buying a brand new car, take your car into a car dealer, a detailer, and pay. It's not cheap, but pay to get it professionally cleaned everywhere and shampoo everything and wax it inside, vacuum all the inside, do all the trunk. It's literally like you get into a brand new car. Yeah, and it makes it nice. Yeah, if one day, that's right. If a Tacoma, yeah, maybe one day. I don't think I would buy one. They're too expensive, Vic. I don't really need it. I do a lot of camping in the summer, but I don't necessarily need. I don't need. It's a want, not a need. So, but maybe one day, yeah. If the if the channel gets millions and millions of subscribers, sure, that will be yeah. I think you were talking a little bit. It looks like a little bit of a start. I think. Well, it's not. I don't want to jinx it too much, but it looks like Santa's kind of showing. Like we can maybe hear the bells. Maybe hear the bells ringing in the distance, and we might actually show up this year. We'll have to see how it goes. Yeah. Yeah, Vic, YouTube pumpers. It's I don't watch a ton of them. I really don't. I I any kind of any kind of investing stuff you really have to take with a grain of salt from online. We talked about it a little bit before, and I think people watching it, and hopefully I try and convey that in my channel. I'm not trying to, as we talk about things, I'm definitely not trying to pump anything or say buy something or follow what I do by any means, but more of like use it as a starting point to as an interest to see about learning about it more if there's some interest with it, right? I mean, yield shares, for example, I'm not here to say go buy them because you can make 18% dividend. Not the case. But there's a lot out there that do pump certain things up, and it's almost like clickbaity, right? That's the problem. It's so I guess I always kind of say that I should do an actual regular video on that, Vic, because that's a good point. I should do a don't trust YouTubers video, because not to say you can't trust them, but if people are watching it, use it as a starting point to learn about certain things, and take a step back before you start investing in anything, and make sure it's for you, right? Just because a YouTuber or somebody online says to push, buy something because it's awesome, doesn't mean you should, no matter what. We kind of saw that with a lot of the meme stocks, right? Like the last couple of years, it's popular, right? Was it AMC and GameStop and all that kind of stuff? And yeah, that's the thing. If you see that's a good suggestion, actually, Vic, because if you see someone's thumbnail where they're like surprised and holding their face like that, you can screenshot that. Don't probably go the opposite direction. It's basically meant for people to click in and look at your video, and they sell the hype and the fear and everything else. Like, I know I bought XYZ stock and it's going to the moon. It's not the case. Some of them can be entertaining, though. Some of them can be a bit of you can actually learn quite some things, but yeah, take it with a grain of salt, and use it as a starting like the cheeks. Yeah, take it like a starting point for your investment plan, and write it down, put it on your watch list, and to see. I mean, there's no harm in putting something on your watch list and just waiting, watching, and seeing. Nothing wrong with that. And yeah, we talked about CPI down a bit earlier, Vic. You have to go back and watch the replay. You missed out. You got to come right at 8:00. That's when we hit all the good bits. Yeah, I think some of them kind of do, Justin. Maybe more in the description. I mean, I have that in the bottom of my descriptions because I'm not a financial advisor. Like I'm not no desire to be either, and a lot of them do like a lot of them do basically start off that good point, Brian, with like, hey, don't buy this, but here's my advice. Yeah, it's kind of like that's why I've kind of not gone that direction on my channel, because I'm not here to tell anybody how to advise their stuff. They should definitely have someone that they know, right, personally, and trust. And but also the thing with financial advisors too is, I mean, you got to find the right one, because some people say some people kind of say don't trust them or whatever, right? So it's really hard. But I think people do need to do a better. Is people have to also take their own responsibility, right, about what they're putting their money in. I mean, obviously there's obvious scams, right? But I don't think anybody should blindly. I mean, people mention stocks and shares, different ETFs all the time on my channel, in the comments and everything else. Um, it's everybody's, I think, responsibility for their own, money, essentially. I try and get rid of all the spam comments that are coming on, but if obviously someone's saying that they bought certain things, I'm not going to take those off the channel, because I think hopefully people are smart enough to know, okay, well, oh, here's an idea to go look at. I can search it and start to research it a bit more. But yeah, it's tough, right? Um, it is kind of tough. Yeah, they say it's not financial advice, but it's kind of hard. Yeah, it's kind of a fine line, I guess, but it's like, I mean, it's yeah, it's that's a good point. They're talking about it, so it kind of is. Um, yeah, it's kind of a fine line with things that way. I think people. I just try and I can only worry about myself. I can only speak for myself, but I try not to. Definitely not. Uh, Try and steer anybody in any direction to buy anything. And I think it is. I mean, I'm going to assume there's different laws and everything in the states too. That's what people have to realize too when they're watching certain things. Is some of these, a lot of these YouTubers. There's Canadians, right? Where I'm Canadian. There's other Canadian financial YouTubers. A lot of them are also in the states, and so certain things they're talking about and aren't applicable to Canada in terms of taxes and all that kind of stuff. So you just have to be careful what you're watching and what you're doing and what you're investing into. Just be careful. Um, do as a starting do as a take it as a starting line to kind of follow, and because you can learn a lot from, like, let's just not say, I mean, not every YouTuber is a pumper and everything else. I mean, you can learn a lot from it. I mean, I listen to a lot of podcasts and all that kind of stuff. So it's you can definitely find some good information online. That's what people do. But this doesn't mean you should put your money in certain things. I think yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Because you don't want people to lose money, right? You never want that to that to happen with anybody, especially if it comes down to, like, I know a lot of the crypto ones have been. That's why I really don't talk. I mean, I don't talk a lot about crypto on the channel. It is a small portion of my investment portfolio, but it's basically just Bitcoin. So it's kind of like it's the other stuff that you have to be careful with, where people get into trouble, because there's lots of volatility and there's volatility in Bitcoin too, but there's way more volatility and scams and all that kind of stuff with other tokens that aren't out there. So I don't really talk about crypto too much outside of the ETF that I have, because it gives me the opportunity to hold a digital currency type of product in my ETF, which I think is, for me, it fits with my time horizon and where I think that asset is going to be going in the future. It's not for everybody though. Not for everybody. But everybody starts off, this is not financial advice. I'm not an advisor. I've had a few videos where I'm like, point an arrow in my head, I'm not an advisor. So, but it's a starting point for people. And I think that's what the majority of people find on channels. You guys, people that are watching, that's a good starting point of their investment journey, or whatever you want to call it, going forward. Because I mean, that's kind of my goal of the channel is for me to learn. So I try and share things that I've learned along the way, and it's been great. I mean, I've learned a lot. Do I wish my portfolio was up 20%? Sure, but it's not. It's the market. It's what I've chosen to invest in is not. So I can't blame anybody but myself. But hopefully people learn from, I don't know, maybe seeing if I've made my mistakes or certain things I bought that I shouldn't have bought or went more into one that I shouldn't have or whatever. But yeah, it's that's what investing is. And I think the big thing too is people also have to be, I think people, and this is what I've learned as well, is to try and make sure be more patient with your investing as well, especially I think now. And that's kind of the big thing. Also too is like don't and there you go. See, check my when you're having a bad day, come to mine, and you won't feel so bad. It's so fun. It's so funny. That's good. I like that. I like that. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's the things I've decided to invest in at the time. But again, I guess it comes down to like, patience. I mean, I'm okay with the with the makes me laugh. It's a good laugh. Yeah, it's true. But obviously, I mean, I'm not putting anything in there that I can't afford to lose. That's one idea with investing, especially. And I've chosen to be a bit more risky with my TFSA. It's also like I've talked about, Dan, in videos and stuff. It's not my only investments. So um, it can I can diversify it in some different things that I'm not in with other investments. So that's kind of that kind of is the reasoning behind that. I do have RSPs and other investments that are definitely less, a lot less risk adverse for things. So that's that part. So people, yeah, they have to be patient. Also, people, if something is down, this is the thing with my portfolio. I'm not panicking. I went in knowing that there's going to be volatility, and I'm okay with that. So I have a long time horizon, and I'm okay. So I'm not going to panic sell something that I thought my plan was to hold for 10 years or more anyways. So it's like, and I'm not smart enough to be a trader, and really can't trade very much in your TFSA anyways. It's more of a long-term hold. So yeah, and I guess the big thing is too, like we said, I mean, my portfolio is down, but it's not, I'm not investing my emergency fund or anything like that. If anything, now I'm starting to try and want to build it up more. So that will be like, I talked about Dan. I don't know if you joined at the very beginning, but I'm going to be starting to put a little bit of cash in my TFSA as well. It's yeah, it kind of works. It works for me. So, but it's not for everybody. So everybody's different, and I think people have to learn their tolerances, right? You find that out very quickly when you start investing in yourself, and choose possibly riskier things. You learn that very very quickly. So same thinking. There you go. You also drink, so helps. I don't drink. I don't drink. So maybe that keeps me calmer. I don't know. Haven't drank for a few years now, so I don't have to I don't have to drink my stock my market pick sorrows away. I drink coffee, but that's anyways. So we're kind of, that was good. That's always good. I always love how, thanks everybody for these conversations. I love how, I do like how it always goes into another direction before the stream finishes. On that note, where it's a quarter to 9. So thanks everybody for joining in. If there's any last few comments, questions, fire them up there. We'll try and get to them, but if not, we'll take off. Again, it's the week before Christmas is almost over, which is nice. And that's the whole thing with work. We're trying to like wrap everything up by Friday, so we don't have to worry about things over the holidays. But we will have We will have a live stream tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, and then it's off for Christmas. I do know, I don't think Candace is watching today, but if everybody's watching, Candace is going to be doing her, I'll mention it again, Candace is going to be doing her Christmas Day live stream, so you can always catch something on Sunday. Check on her channel to get notified, because I can't remember exactly what time it's going to be on in Christmas, but it'll be there. And then obviously Boxing Day for us on the Monday. I haven't decided if I'll be able to do a live stream yet. We'll see how the kind of the day goes, but obviously keep notified. But we'll be here for the next couple of days anyways, Thursday, Friday, to wrap up the week. And maybe we'll keep hearing those we got, like we said with Vic, a little bit of Santa bells seem to be kind of coming up a little bit, so that's always kind of nice. And maybe we'll end the year with a bit of green, which is always good. Gives us a nice, gets us in that Christmas spirit to start off the new year. So thanks for watching, everybody. It's always fun. It's always appreciated. And that's the thing. There we go. I mean, and that's I'll have to do Brian, living off dividends. The fluctuation of price is not. Yeah, I mean, obviously you don't like to see it go down, but as long as your dividends keep rolling in, that's a good thing. That is definitely a good thing. And I mean, I'm interested because this year I've kept track of all my dividends, and they really add up, and they start to really show after you kind of have a couple of years of of building the portfolio up. So I can't wait to actually share because I'll have the full year to show what came in, which is nice. It definitely adds up. That's what I always kind of think if I'm looking. I'm like, I don't want to sell this stuff because I keep getting the dividends. And if I can buy more, it's cheaper and the dividends are good. So as long as that doesn't kind of change, the price, like you said, isn't supposed to matter as much. It's just psychological, right? You never like to see something go down, but then if it goes, it's the whole psychology of it all. If they start going up, we always think, oh shoot, I wish I could have bought more. And that's the whole idea with, a bit of dollar cost averaging. You kind of takes that out of the equation and you just keep building. And that's my goal for the new year, is on some of that stuff. I still will be investing, I still will be putting stuff in other investments to keep the kind of percentages, but I really want to focus on that high dividend yield one for VDY, just to start to build that up while I can for the year, because I think it's going to be down. I think we're going to be, for 2023 is going to be not the greatest in terms of coming back up, but I want to start to build and for the rise up eventually when we come out of this, which seems like a bear market for the longest time, but time will tell. Anyways, there we go. So that's enough for me rambling today. Before we turn out, thanks everybody for joining. It's thanks for joining. I'll get you. I saw you. Yeah, there comes a point where they don't pay dividend. Keep an eye on that, right? Keep an eye on the dividends, Brian, to make sure they keep continuing. The one that I'm worried about in my portfolio is TransAlta. We'll see what happens with that. But again, wasn't planning on selling that. But I mean, if something changes, something might change. Anyways, that's that. So thanks for coming. Thanks for joining. Thanks for watching. Thanks. I do have to get to work now, so I do appreciate everybody's joining in on the stream, on the call, and. If we're heading out here, don't forget, hit that like button. It really helps out the channel. I appreciate everybody's joining in, all the views. It's a lot of fun to do. So we'll keep doing this, and it's great. It's always a great group, always a good conversation. I really appreciate everybody, and it's hopefully you find the streams helpful. I find them helpful. I love having these conversations, and hopefully to see you all in the next one. Let's end with a little bit of a fireplace to get us into the work day, and we'll catch you tomorrow. Thanks, everybody.